Revelation's silence about America isn't an accident. It's a prophetic clue. By the end of this video, you'll understand why America's absence from biblical prophecy might be the most important clue the Bible gives us about the end times. Here's the puzzle. The book of Revelation names kings. It names beasts. It describes cities and empires. But the most powerful nation in modern history, the nation that dominates global politics, economics, and military affairs, is never mentioned by name. How is that possible? How can a book that describes the final world government say nothing about America? There are only three possibilities. Each of these possibilities leads to a very different future, and each one deserves careful examination. But here's what makes this investigation unsettling, and this will become critical when we reach reason number 3. The answer might not be what any American wants to hear. Let's start with the most controversial reason. Number 1. America as Mystery Babylon. The first reason is that America isn't missing from Revelation at all. It's there, under a different name, Babylon. Then, America isn't just mentioned in prophecy. America is judged in prophecy. Revelation 17 and 18 describe an end-time entity called Babylon the Great. But this isn't ancient Babylon. Ancient Babylon fell centuries before John wrote Revelation. This is something else. A future system. A global power. A city or nation with worldwide influence. And the woman which thou sawest is that great city, which reigneth over the kings of the earth. A great city reigning over the kings of the earth. That's not ancient Iraq. That's a future global center of power. But here's what most people miss, and this becomes absolutely crucial when we examine who destroys Babylon later. This entity doesn't just have power. It has enemies. Powerful enemies. The destruction of Babylon. Revelation 18 describes Babylon's destruction in vivid detail. Standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, Alas, alas, that great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come. 1 hour. Sudden destruction, and the reaction is global. And the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buyeth their merchandise any more. The merchants of the earth weep, not local traders, but global merchants, because when Babylon falls, their market disappears, their wealth evaporates, and their economic system collapses. Now let me show you 5 reasons why some scholars believe this describes America. And pay attention to how these reasons build on each other, because by the time we reach reason number 5, you'll see a pattern that's impossible to ignore. Reason number 1. Global economic dominance. Here's the first reason some believe America is Babylon. No nation in history has dominated global economics like America. The US dollar is the world's reserve currency. International trade is denominated in dollars. American markets set global prices. American consumer demand drives worldwide production. If America's economy collapsed tomorrow, every nation on earth would feel it instantly. Revelation 18:3. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. All nations, kings of the earth, merchants grown rich through her abundance. No other nation's fall would cause merchants worldwide to mourn in 1 hour. Only America fits that description. But here's what makes this even more striking, and this connects directly to reason number 2. It's not just about money. Reason number 2. Cultural export power. Babylon is described as intoxicating the nations. Revelation 17:2. With whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. The inhabitants of the earth, drunk, intoxicated by her influence. Look at what America exports to the world. Entertainment, music, movies, television, social media, fashion, ideology, and values. American culture saturates the globe. People in remote villages know American celebrities. American trends shape behavior worldwide. No other nation has ever exported its culture with such overwhelming force. The nations are drunk with American influence. But here's what's truly chilling. It's not just that America influences the world. It's America's attitude about that influence. Reason number 3. Luxury and excess. Revelation describes Babylon's attitude. Revelation 18:7. How much she hath glorified herself, and lived deliciously, so much torment and sorrow give her, for she saith in her heart, I sit a queen, and am no widow, and shall see no sorrow. I sit as a queen. I shall see no sorrow. Pride, luxury, self-confidence, the assumption that nothing can bring her down. This mirrors American exceptionalism, the belief that America is unique, untouchable, destined to remain dominant. We're the greatest nation on earth. Nothing can stop us. That's the attitude Revelation describes. And here's what makes this ominous. Pride in Scripture is always followed by something. Always. Reason number 4. Sudden destruction. The language of Babylon's destruction is striking. In 1 hour. Revelation 18:17. For in 1 hour so great riches is come to naught. 1 hour. Not gradual decline, not slow decay. Sudden, catastrophic collapse. What could destroy a nation in 1 hour? Nuclear strike, electromagnetic pulse, coordinated cyber attack, financial system collapse. America is uniquely vulnerable to sudden destruction precisely because of how interconnected its systems are. One catastrophic event could cascade through the entire infrastructure in 1 hour. But here's what seals this interpretation for many scholars. Look at where this destruction happens. Reason number 5. Geographic clues. Babylon is described as a maritime power. Revelation 18:17-19. And every shipmaster, and all the company in ships, and sailors, and as many as trade by sea, stood afar off, and cried when they saw the smoke of her burning, saying, What city is like unto this great city? And they cast dust on their heads, and cried, weeping and wailing, saying, Alas, alas, that great city, wherein were made rich all that had ships in the sea, by reason of her costliness. For in 1 hour is she made desolate. Ships, sailors, maritime trade, a city by the sea. Think about New York, the financial capital of the world, one of the busiest ports on earth, the Statue of Liberty standing in the harbor. The description fits. Now, before you conclude that America is Babylon, I need to show you the other side. Because here's where this reason runs into serious problems. And this will become crucial when we examine reason 3. Counterargument number 1. Babylon is a city, not a nation. Revelation consistently calls Babylon a city. Revelation 17:18. And the woman which thou sawest is that great city. A city, not a nation. America is a nation-state spanning a continent. Could Babylon refer to a specific city like New York? Possibly. But the text emphasizes a single urban center, not a continental power. This is a legitimate objection. But here's where it gets complicated. Other candidates exist. America isn't the only candidate for Babylon. Rome, the historical persecutor of the church, center of religious corruption. A future global capital, a city that doesn't fully exist yet, perhaps a rebuilt literal Babylon or a new world center. Each of these has supporting arguments. America is a strong candidate, but not the only one. So if America isn't Babylon, then why is it still missing from end-time prophecy? This brings us to the second reason. And here's what's fascinating about this one. It doesn't explain America's judgment. It explains America's disappearance. Let's examine the second reason. Number 2. America as the eagle's wings. The second reason is that America appears in Revelation, not as Babylon, but as a protector, the eagle that helps Israel escape. But here's what you need to understand before we dive in, and this will become critical when we examine why the eagle vanishes from the text. Protection and presence are two different things. A nation can protect and then cease to exist. Revelation 12. The woman and the dragon. Revelation 12 describes a cosmic drama. A woman, representing Israel, is pursued by a dragon, representing Satan. Revelation 12:13-14. And when the dragon saw that he was cast unto the earth, he persecuted the woman which brought forth the man-child. And to the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness, into her place, where she is nourished for a time, and times, and half a time, from the face of the serpent. The woman is given wings of a great eagle. She flies to safety. She's protected for a time, times, and half a time, 3.5 years. But here's what most readers miss. And this becomes devastating when we examine what happens after the 3.5 years. The eagle appears once. Only once. And then it's gone. To understand the eagle, we need to understand the context. Revelation 12 describes a war in heaven. Revelation 12:7-9. And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon. And the dragon fought, and his angels, and prevailed not. Neither was their place found any more in heaven. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent, called the devil, and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. Satan is cast out of heaven. He's thrown down to earth, and he's furious. Revelation 12:12. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea! For the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. Satan knows his time is short. And his first target? Israel, the woman who brought forth the Messiah. This is the moment when Israel faces her greatest persecution. And this is the moment when the eagle appears. But here's what's crucial, and this connects directly to why America's role might be time-limited. The eagle doesn't defeat the dragon. The eagle helps Israel escape the dragon. There's a difference. The eagle symbolism. What are the wings of a great eagle? Some see this as purely supernatural, God's divine protection. In the Old Testament, God describes his deliverance using eagle imagery. Exodus 19:4. Ye have seen what I did unto the Egyptians, and how I bare you on eagle's wings, and brought you unto myself. God carried Israel out of Egypt on eagles' wings. Deuteronomy 32:11-12. As an eagle stirreth up her nest, fluttereth over her young, spreadeth abroad her wings, taketh them, beareth them on her wings. So the Lord alone did lead him, and there was no strange God with him. The Lord alone, like an eagle protecting its young. So the eagle could simply mean divine intervention, God himself providing supernatural escape. But others see national symbolism. Then the eagle's disappearance becomes prophetically significant. Because nations can fail, God cannot. Here's something fascinating. Throughout Scripture, eagles represent specific things. Speed, 2 Samuel 1:23. They were swifter than eagles. They were stronger than lions. Power, Isaiah 40:31. But they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. Military might. Jeremiah 49:22. Behold, he shall come up and fly as the eagle, and spread his wings. When Revelation describes Israel being given wings of a great eagle, it's describing rapid, powerful deliverance, something that moves Israel quickly to safety, something with the strength to carry an entire nation. But here's what makes the American connection compelling, and this sets up everything we're about to examine. No nation in modern history projects power with the speed and strength of America. America is the eagle. The bald eagle is the national bird. The eagle appears on currency, government seals, military insignia. The presidential seal features an eagle. The Great Seal of the United States features an eagle. Military units use eagle symbolism extensively. No other major nation uses the eagle as prominently. Germany once used the eagle, but Germany is not Israel's ally. Rome used the eagle, but Rome persecuted Israel. Russia uses the two-headed eagle, but Russia is increasingly hostile to Israel. America stands alone as the eagle nation that has consistently protected Israel. If Revelation wanted to symbolize American assistance, what better image than an eagle? But here's what makes this even more compelling, and this is something that will matter when we examine America's historical role. The symbolism isn't just visual, it's behavioral. Reason number 2, historical pattern. Look at America's relationship with Israel. This is unlike any alliance in modern history. Military support. America provides Israel with approximately $3.8 billion in military aid annually. This includes advanced weapons systems, missile defense technology, and intelligence sharing. The Iron Dome, the Arrow missile defense system, F-35 fighter jets, and precision-guided munitions. America arms Israel like no other nation on earth. Diplomatic protection. America has used its UN Security Council veto to protect Israel dozens of times. When the world condemns Israel, America stands alone in defense. Resolution after resolution blocked. Sanction after sanction prevented. America shields Israel from international isolation. During the 1973 Yom Kippur War, Israel faced annihilation. Egypt and Syria launched a surprise attack. Israel was running out of ammunition. America launched Operation Nickel Grass, an emergency airlift. Over 22,000 tons of military equipment delivered. Israel survived because American planes flew day and night. That's what wings of an eagle looks like in practice. So what if America is neither Babylon nor the eagle? What if America is simply gone? That brings us to the third reason, and I need to warn you, this one doesn't offer comfort. Number 3, America declines, one of the uprooted horns. The third reason is the most sobering. America isn't hidden in Revelation under a symbolic name. America isn't the eagle protecting Israel. America is simply absent, because by the time the final events occur, America has already been removed from the world stage. Now, before I show you the biblical evidence for this, remember what we learned in Reason 1's counterargument number 2. The beast eliminates rivals. That detail is about to become central. To understand this reason, we need to look at Daniel 7. Daniel describes the rise of the final world empire. Daniel 7:7-8, KJV. After this I saw in the night visions, and behold a fourth beast, dreadful and terrible, and strong exceedingly. And it had great iron teeth. It devoured and brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with the feet of it. And it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it. And it had 10 horns. I considered the horns, and, behold, there came up among them another little horn, before whom there were 3 of the first horns plucked up by the roots. And, behold, in this horn were eyes like the eyes of man, and a mouth speaking great things. A fourth beast, 10 horns, representing 10 kings or power centers. A little horn rises, the Antichrist, and 3 of the original horns are plucked up by the roots. But here's what most people miss about this passage. Daniel doesn't say these horns surrender. He says they're plucked up by the roots. The uprooted horns. This detail is crucial. The Antichrist doesn't inherit power peacefully. He doesn't simply unite existing powers. He removes 3 of them, plucked up by the roots, eliminated, displaced, destroyed. And here's the question that should unsettle every American watching this. What if one of those 3 horns is the United States? What plucked up by the roots means? Let's examine this phrase carefully, because the Hebrew imagery is violent and total. When you pluck something up by the roots, you don't trim it. You don't weaken it. You don't absorb it. You remove it completely. The plant doesn't exist anymore. It's not integrated into something else. It's gone. Daniel is describing the complete elimination of 3 power centers. Not decline, not merger. Elimination. And here's what's haunting, and this connects to everything we're about to examine. If America is one of those 3 horns, America doesn't slowly fade into irrelevance. America is violently removed from the world stage. Reason number 1. America is a global power missing from the final map. Look at what Revelation does describe: the beast and his kingdom, the 10 kings who give him power, Babylon the Great, the kings of the earth, the kings of the east. Where is America? The world's superpower, not mentioned. The global military leader, not named. The economic giant, absent. This suggests America loses its sovereignty before the beast fully rules. You can't be absent from a global system unless you've been removed from it. But here's what makes this even more ominous. The how is described in Daniel. The prophetic map without America. Think about what Revelation does describe in the end times. It describes a beast rising from the sea, a world government with global authority. It describes 10 kings who give their power to this beast willingly. It describes Babylon, a great economic and religious system that's eventually destroyed. It describes the kings of the East, a massive army from Asia. It describes the kings of the earth gathered at Armageddon. Every major power block is represented. Every significant player is mentioned, except one. The most powerful nation on earth in our time, America, is nowhere to be found. Some might argue America is simply included among the kings of the earth. Daniel 7:8, KJV. before whom there were three of the first horns plucked up by the roots. Plucked up by the roots. This isn't gradual decline. This isn't peaceful integration. This is violent displacement, removal, elimination. What kind of events could pluck up a superpower? Military defeat, economic collapse, internal implosion, civil conflict, division, breakdown, cyber attack crippling infrastructure, natural disaster of unprecedented scale, strategic, neutralization by enemies. Any of these could remove America from the global stage quickly enough to explain its prophetic absence. And here's what connects this to America. If America is one of these three horns, America's end isn't a slow sunset. It's a sudden uprooting. Here's the logic. The Antichrist establishes a one-world government, a single global authority, a unified system controlling commerce, religion, and politics. How do you establish one world government when there's already a dominant superpower? You can't have two masters. You can't have a global beast system and an independent American superpower. One has to go. Either America becomes the beast system, which we'd see in prophecy, or America is absorbed into it, losing identity. Or America is removed before it, explaining the silence. The prophetic silence suggests removal, the logic of elimination. Think about this from a purely strategic perspective. If you're the Antichrist and you want to establish global dominion, what's your biggest obstacle? The United States of America, the world's largest economy, the world's most powerful military, the world's reserve currency, the world's cultural hegemon, a nation with nuclear weapons, global military bases, and alliances spanning every continent. You cannot establish one world government while America exists as an independent superpower. It's impossible. America would either control your system or oppose your system. There's no third option. So what do? You remove the obstacle, you pluck up the horn, you eliminate the rival before consolidating power. And here's what's sobering, and this connects to the scenarios we'll examine shortly. This elimination doesn't require the Antichrist to personally attack America. It only requires America to fall. However that happens, the result is the same. The obstacle is removed. Historical precedent. How superpowers fall. Here's something that should concern every American. No superpower in history has lasted forever, and most didn't see their end coming. The Roman Empire seemed invincible for centuries, then collapsed in a generation. The British Empire controlled a quarter of the world, then lost its dominance in 20 years. The Soviet Union was a nuclear superpower, then dissolved in months. Each of these powers had citizens who assumed their nation would endure forever. Each of them was wrong. Proverbs 16:18. Pride goeth before destruction, and an haughty spirit before a fall. America has existed as a superpower for less than a century. In the span of history, that's nothing. The assumption that America will continue indefinitely is exactly the kind of pride that Scripture warns about, and exactly the attitude that preceded every fallen empire. And this brings us to the most unsettling part of this reason. America's unique vulnerabilities make removal not just possible, but plausible. America has unique vulnerabilities that could enable rapid decline. And here's what's disturbing. Each of these vulnerabilities connects to one of the removal scenarios we just discussed. Let me walk through these in detail because understanding the vulnerabilities helps us understand how quickly America could fall. Vulnerability number 1: national debt. America's national debt exceeds $34 trillion. That's trillion with a T. The annual interest payments alone exceed $1 trillion. This debt is sustainable only because the world trusts the US dollar as the global reserve currency. If that trust evaporates, if nations start trading in other currencies, if confidence in America's fiscal responsibility collapses, the entire system unravels. Hyperinflation becomes possible. Government services become unfundable. The economy collapses not over years, but over months or weeks. Remember Babylon's destruction in 1 hour? Economic collapse can happen that fast.